So this assignment will be available in our course website along with the videos and the solutions at this level. Problem set is already available. Now I would be storing the notebook like which I have used it now in the solutions and also give the link there, and I would upload the video here. Bookmark this web page and refer it. You would be getting all the details of the course along with all the updates. Hello everyone, welcome to our course Python Programming 2022 sponsored by Open Knowledge Share. So today let's discuss about the solutions of the assignment 2. Now let me open Jupyter Notebook. I would like to solve this assignment in a Jupyter Notebook in my local. You see it has opened browser with the files like which were there in the same folder where I am in. So I'll be going into the assignments, assignment 2, and here I'm going to create a notebook. So for which I'll go to new and I'd be selecting this OKS. So because I would like to run it in OKS environment. So in the first problem, it was asked to store the given data in a dictionary. So if you see the data, it was like equipment name, brand and watts were given. So equipment is fan, Havells, and wattage is 200. And similarly, there are like a list like of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 items. So and hint is also given that the dictionary can also be accessed by the equipment name, and it should be like if you pass like fan as a key, and it should be returning the brand and the watts. Let's initially create an empty dictionary. So I would be creating a name equipment dict. Now let me add each of the element which was there in there. You should be cautious of how you write the spelling, so because it matters a lot. So and I'd be giving 200 here. Similarly, we can write it for all equipments here. Let me run it and check like what has been stored in the dictionary. For it, we can see it like this. So you can see fan, Havells and Tubelight, stove. We have all the 6 items here. We can also see the length of a dictionary by doing equipment dict. So it would be 6. So let's try solving the first question, which was print the total sum of watts of the equipment out. And we can see that there are it would be like there are like 6 items, out of which the watts are coming in the second position of the list, so which was of index 1, right? So we have to add like each of these. So 200 plus 100 plus none would it count, like you can ignore the none, and then like 750 plus 1000 plus 1200. So likewise, to get the sum of the watts, so we have to add all these values which were in index 1. First, like we have to write a loop so that we can move across each item. This equipment in, let me use this dictionary. So because dot keys would give us each of these values, like which was like fan, tubelight, stove, so on. So now for each of the equipment doing something like this, so which was like this equipment dict off, and we write the key name over there, and this way we can access the value within this key, so which was this list. So in this list you need the second value, which is like like index 0, index 1. So we need like value in the index 1, so which would be of 1. This way we can get the wattage of the equipment. We are doing a loop, so let's total all of them to get the final sum of watts. So I would declare a variable total sum. So initially, let's say if nothing is there, it's a 0 equal to plus, and we add this new wattage which came for this equipment. So this would run in a loop, and finally we would be getting the sum of watts. So let's run and see. So I clicked on run, but we had got an error. So it was this line of code where we got the error, where we are trying to sum an integer to a none type. This happens because you can see there is none at one place. So we have to avoid if there are any nones, right? So for that purpose, we have to do a check. So which is if wattage is not none. So we have to give this check, and only if it is not none, sum it. If it is none, you don't have to worry about it. So now if you run this, you see you got an answer. This time the error is solved. So now you got an answer. It was like 3250, which is right. So now let's go to the second question. So find the equipments having highest wattage, and we have to identify which equipment has the highest wattage. So here you can see different wattages are like this, and in this, like, we can see the highest wattage belongs to the dishwasher. We have identified it by looking at each of the wattage and then finding which is the highest number, and then seeing what is the key corresponding to that highest wattage. So that is how we have to do it, but in a program way. So for that, initially to give the output, let's take it into a variable max wattage equipment. So this would be our output. Initially, let's take it as none, because we don't have any wattage, like still we did not see anything. So let's take it as none. And also let's take what is the watts, highest watt we have got. So for that, max wattage, I would initially take it as 0, because as of now there is nothing and there is no negative chance of negative number. So let's take, without seeing anything, the max is 0, and now we should be iterating over each of the key in this dictionary and then see if it is greater than the maximum. Then we can take that value at the moment and then see the next number. If it is greater than the already having maximum value, then we have to store. If it is not the maximum, then we can ignore. So likewise, we have to go to each of the item and see if it is greater than the maximum or not. And once we find the maximum, we can point out like the corresponding equipment. So same way we'll be iterating across the dictionary. Just like in a previous problem, we can take the wattage here, and now this wattage you would like to know if it is greater than the existing max wattage. So if it is the maximum, then we store the current value as the maximum. Check if this wattage is greater than the max wattage. So if it is maximum, then now this is our new maximum, right? So because we have seen a highest number till now at this position, so we can store this as a new max wattage, and as it is the maximum, we can store that equipment name here. So equipment name would be in the key, right? So we can store this equipment name here, and it would run across the loop, and if it is not the maximum, then we can ignore it, and then finally it would run to the next item and check till the last. Once completed looking at all the elements, then finally we can print the highest wattage equipment here. So I would also print like what is that maximum wattage which we got, also the equipment name which was stored in this. Now if I run it, I got an error. So let's solve it. So it was saying the none type would not take integer, right? The same error which we got in previous problem, that if it is a none, we can't compare it with the maximum wattage. So we should be skipping that check. Like we should keep a check before that if it is not a none, only then do it. So if it is none, we can skip this. So for skipping it, using continue. So this wattage is none, we can do continue. Okay, so now run it. So it means, so if the wattage is none, so it would continue. So it means it doesn't go to the next lines of code. Other than that, it would skip to the next iteration. So I mean, here when the none has come, so it would not process or check like if it is maximum or minimum. So then it would go to the next one, which was the refrigerator, execute the new iteration. So this way we can find that the highest wattage is found of 1200 watts for a dishwasher. So this is expected. Let's see the next problem, which was like adding a new equipment to the existing dictionary. So we have a dictionary which as of now contains these elements, and now to this we have to add a new one. So which was a mixture and Prestige is a brand, and 350 is a watts. So for that we can do something like of, if it is a mixture doesn't exist already, so it would be a new key which would be formed mixture equal to, and then we can give Prestige comma 350 watts. So this way we will be able to add a new key and also the value to it. Now if you check, mixture has been added as a new key, and the correspondingly the Prestige and 350 have been the values for it. Now let's see the another problem where it was change the brand of Tubelight to Phillip. This dictionary, the question was like change the brand of Tubelight. So it was currently Crompton, we have to change it to Phillip. Access the Tubelight, so we have to do like this, right? So here it was showing Crompton, so we should be changing the brand name which was there in the first 0th index, so 0th index to Phillip. So of 0, because that is a list, so of 0 we would be able to access that element, and I would be making it Phillip. And now let's check it. So if you run it, you can see this Tubelight, in earlier it was Crompton, it has been changed to Phillip. So this way we will be able to modify the values within a dictionary. So in the second problem, it was given use try and except and solve the error while running program.py. So let me check what is the program.py. So it was given like some program, so let me copy the same over here. Let me first like take the program and run it here. Yes, like we have got an error like which was a 0 division error which we have got. So let's look into it. Like it was an output list is empty, and it was iterating with length of a. So and then for each element it was dividing b by a, means like 10 divided by 1, and if it is greater than 0 then it is being appended to output list. If it is not else, like if it is negative, then break, means it would come out of the loop. So in the second element it was it is like 10 by 1 which is 10, so 10 would be stored in the output list. Then 20 by 2 which would be stored in the output list. Similarly 3 by 3 is 1, it would be stored. 4 by 2 is 10, like it would be stored. Then 5 by 0 has come. So when it is 5 by 0, that is a division in denominator, there is a 0. That's why we got 0 division error. So we have to avoid this issue. So for avoiding this issue, we can have a check by keeping a of I not equal to 0, only then proceed and then continue. That is one way. So and if it is 0, then just skip it. So that is one way of doing it. But in the question it was asked to use try except. So let's use the try except and do the solve this error. Like this is a line of code where we will be getting 0 by division. So let me take that inside try except, and then like outside that come here and put like except, and we can do continue. It means it would skip that particular iteration, and when there is a error it would skip. But I would like to only skip if it is a 0 division error. So for that you can put like this and keep exception 0 division error, and then you can also put a notification like print skipping because of 0 division error. When you run it this time, it has worked. It has you can also see this notification skipped because of 0 division error. There is one iteration which it has skipped, so which was this. To have gone to the next one, which it is 2 divided by -1, and which is like -2, and see as it is negative, then it break. It has executed this break command, it would come out of this loop. So then finally like showing us the print output. So coming to the third problem, it was like use map function to compute square root of each element in the list, and then filter the elements having square root value greater than, which are greater than 5. We have to use a map function. So map is something like this, and using this map we have to compute square root of each element. So let's first know like how to write a square root. So which would be, we need to import math library and math.sqrt of, if you give the value, and it would be returning as the square root. Let me give 10, it would give the value, but in case if you give a list, it would not support. So for that purpose we use map. We can use a lambda function. So I have defined a lambda function here of which takes input x, and it would return out the math.sqrt of x, and I would be passing the list like which was asked given in the question, so which was 10, 20, 30, 40, 2, 3 and 100. So if I run it, so it has given a map generator. So to know the actual value, you can put a list. So you can see we got the square root of each of the element which was there in this list. So which was square root of 10 is 3.16, square root of 20 is 4.4. So likewise we got the value for all. Now we have to filter the elements having square root value greater than 5. So we only need the values here which were greater than 5. So which means it needs these two and this one, right? So for that, let's do like this. So we can use filter function for that, and lambda x greater than 0, and this is the lambda function. It means, sorry, x greater than 5. So it means the value we are comparing and giving it only if it is greater than 5, and we have to give this entire list. So let me store this list in something like square root values. Now I would be passing it here, and it means it is as good as a new file, new list, and then that is passing into this filter, and you would be getting these values just like as expected. We only got the square root is greater than 5, so which was this 5.4, 6.3 and 10. Fourth question is again like in two parts. So let's first solve the first one. Write a function to add each element in two lists and return the output. Function name should be add two lists. We are given like two inputs which were both are lists, and we have to add these two lists, and it would return the value. So initially let's take like two list values here, and then to sum these two we have to write a loop like which was I in range 0 to, we can take any of these, like let me take like the first list, and then we should be summing these list 1 and list 2. So for that I would be taking a final output list, and let me keep it empty initially. So I am iterating across like each of this item in the list, like of both in the first list as well as the second list, and then I would be storing that sum in this variable. Now this one, now I have to append it to the output list. So, and if you print the output list, we can see, oh okay, so this should be the length of a list, not this. So we got the output as expected, so which was 60, 80, 100. So 10 and 50 are sum, and like we got 60, 20 and 60 are sum, which got 80, 30 and 70 got sum, and we got 100. So this way it was working as expected, but this should be made as a function. So for that I would be taking this part of code, and then let's see. So for doing that, first we have to put definition and the function name, so which would be add to list, and then we have to give the names of list, like as we need like two input variables, so we can give some names like, so it was given like input list 1 and input list 2, just to make the user know, developer know that like it would be, the inputs would be a list. So, and I would be pasting this functions like these lines of code which I have used, I would be pasting it here, and finally returning the value after the loop has ended. So this would be the function. So let me call that function and then see if it is working as expected. So this time I would give like simple values, so and run it. So we got like 5 7 9, so which was 1 plus 4 is 5, 2 plus 5 is 7, and 3 plus 6 is 9. So it was working as expected. Now let's go to the second part of the problem, which was problem should handle the error when the different size of input lists are given below in the above function. It was given like, so taking this function here, which it was already defined, and if we give the inputs like which were like 10 20 30, and the second one is like 50, previously we are given like equal number of elements like in both the inputs, but now here the first list contains 3 and the second list contains only 1. That let's see like how our function would behave. So I would be taking this function and give the values like which were mentioned in this problem. And if I run it, I got an error saying that list is out of range. So it was actually expecting both the inputs should have the same length, and if it is not, it would actually like give an error. For that reason, let's now see like how to handle this error. Let me take what is already been done, and on top of it let's modify and do this. So before that, I'd be taking the one like without the code, like because we have run it previously the same way. Let's take this and run it here. So here I would give this value in the second output. It should behave the same. When I run it, we got the same error, right? So it was because at the level I, it would start from 0 till like 0 1 2, but here there is only 0, there is no 1 and 2, because of which we got this index error at this input list 2. To avoid this error, so we can take the minimum of these two lengths and only iterate till there and make the sum. For that reason, let's take the minimum of 2, which was like I would be taking the minimum of these two lengths, so which would be length of list 1 and then length of list 2. So, and this I would only like to iterate the list like only till this sum. So for that reason, I would be giving till here, and if I run it, it ran without any issue. In this output, we got only value like which was, it has only sum the first one, and it contained the next, like the rest all are like ignored. So this is one method which we can use. By using this minimum function, we can get the least of these, I mean the length which was minimum of these two lists, and that can be stored here, and that list we can only iterate over these lists only till that part of length. So we can even let me give like one more values here. So unrun, then it should be running till 2 times. So let's see. Yes, so it ran twice, and then it only gave like the first two, which was like 50 and 10, which was 60, and 120, which was 120. So now let's make it into a function. So now I'd be taking the same list here. So in the previous function, let me take the same function and add this line of code. So which was here, and then so this would be the function which would work. So let me run that now. As you can see, it has worked as expected.